What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out a dungeon defending kind of roguelite, I guess, is the best way to designate it. You're going to be building up an army of monsters, and they're going to be protecting a treasure. You are part of a monsters union, so this game is kind of like tongue-in-cheek. So ultimately, the goal of the game is that you are an overlord, and you're trying to stay employed with the union for as long as possible by defending the treasure. If they get to the treasure, the adventurers get to it, you lose your job, and that's no fun. We've had the pleasure of showing off this game a couple times in the past, all the way from like the prologue up until now, and the game has gone through considerable refinement over the course of that time. And in fact, I do think that the current 1.0 build, which is the reason why we're revisiting it, is the best version of the game so far. I've kind of gone back and forth with this game as they've revised and they've patched and whatnot. There are times where I think it's a pretty cool game, and then there were other times where I'm like, not my thing. But as of right now, I think the game is in a really, really good spot going into their final release. So we're going to dive on in for about 25 minutes, take a look at the game, and see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list. If after watching this video, you did want to add it to your wish list, I've got a link for you down below in the description so that you can check that on out. It's going to be next to my Discord and my Twitch stream, where I will more than likely be streaming this game in the near future once it comes out. So let's play, shall we? I'm going to go with my old save right here that I've been carrying along. With my character's level 7. That way that you don't have to start over from the beginning of all of the progression. There are 3 overlords available that you can select from. There's the Enchantress. She focuses entirely around like elemental manipulation, basically. Like she's all about status effects and sort of messing with the enemy. There's also variations on her that you can play around with. If you actually beat this campaign and make it all the way through, you unlock new units and like new super characters and stuff like that as you go along. We have the Slaveholder, who is the default character. He basically focuses all on torture, repression, making the enemy run away and breaking their will. He tends to use very standardized monsters, things like orcs. He uses things like demons, he uses things like goatmen and beastmen, goblins, things of that nature. He's pretty cool. He's actually probably my favorite. And then the Engineer. I can't really tell you a whole lot about the Engineer because I haven't played her yet. This is one of those games, like I said, that I go back and forth. Like, I have periods where I play it a whole bunch, and then I have other periods where I don't feel like playing like at all because like the new patch just didn't really suit my fancy or whatever, and so I shelve it, and she was kind of in that vacuous period where I wasn't playing the game. So anyway, she does have a talent point to spend. It looks like we can upgrade renting the duration of traps to Dungeon Company for siege tasks is reduced by a half a week, or 1/2 weeks. We've got the price of traps at merchants are reduced by 20 and 30%, and then we have the training price of mechas reduced by 20 and 30%. That seems like probably what I would go with right there, because training your units and getting them leveled up seems to be a really, really good idea. Let's try her out. Since I've never seen her before, I think that's a really, really good idea. That'll make this kind of I guess that'll make this impressions video a little bit different from the last couple that I've done over the years, because I think I tended to always go with the Slaveholder. Alright, so the basic way that the game unfolds mechanically, we have a roster of monsters for Room 1 and Room 2. You can place any like grouping of these monsters in batches of 3 that you want to when you're placing in rooms. We'll talk about that later. We have our traps right here. The traps are going to be placed in special rooms as the adventurers come on in. There's going to be weeks, and so every week there's different stuff that we have to contend with. So on the first week, we're being attacked by adventurers. They are of 2 difficulty, and we get a monster as a reward, and we get some money as a reward. The game is over when your boss loses all of their health and dies, and that's when it's going to go back. It tabulates all the things you accomplished during the run. It gives her a whole bunch of XP, and then you spend it on talent points, and that's kind of like the meta progression of the game. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can see her health, and you can see how much she regenerates every single week. In addition, you can take a look and click over here, and you can check out the Archivist, which is going to keep track of all the things that you've unlocked over all of your different playthroughs. This game does have an artifact system very similar to Slay the Spire, or similar to Monster Train, or any of those other games where the artifacts will modify how the game plays, and they're permanent. They have an effect on every single battle that you fight during the course of a playthrough, but they disappear when you die as well, and you start over from scratch. So, on week 1, let's go back. We've got these adventurers that we've got to deal with. On week 2, we've got a merchant. We can either train our characters, or we've got a randomized event if neither of those is jumping out at us. So here's how the game plays. It's going to give us an arrangement of rooms. Inside those rooms, we're going to place our monsters and our traps. The goal is to kill all of the adventurers before they get to the treasure. And this is a pretty tough batch of guys. So this guy right here tends to be pretty tanky. but he is naked, so keep that in mind. We've got a couple of traps we can put in here. We've got a ballista, which does physical damage and applies broken armor. We've got gnome technician, which gives a -to morale and puts enhanced trap on the next trap, which makes it deal double damage. And then we've got the energy converter. It does 25 damage, and the next group of monsters gains 50% of damage dealt to target as barrier points. Okay, so it deals 25 damage, and then is it the total damage dealt? To the target, so everybody will get a 12 damage barrier. We'll go with the ballista then, because that'll break everybody's armor. And these guys are already pretty bad at armor. It's important that you go through and you look at the stats of each of these guys, because every adventurer has different resistances and has different things that they're good and bad at, and you kind of want to tailor build the dungeon to capitalize on the fact that they have those weaknesses. And they all have bad armor, and we're just going to reduce it even further. We've got a couple of characters here. I'm not familiar with any of them. So we've got the Balbel, who apparently deals 50 damage to the front line and gains 50% of the damage dealt as a shield. We have all monsters in the group get 25% of the mechanic's power as barrier points. His power is 50, so they'll all get like 15, basically, shield. We've got Dan, who is apparently just a guy inside a little locomotive that's on fire. He deals 16 fire damage to the entire group of enemies, which puts burn 1 on them. That's not very good. He's also got allies, loses 20% of his maximum life, but puts self-protection on everybody else, which means that self-protection 3 means they get 30% of his health as a shield, which is pretty good, actually. That's a pretty solid shield. And then we've got Bullen. Bullen does 14 damage and -14 morale, does demoralized. Okay, so they lose morale in the next turn. That's a morale over time ability. These guys have 2 different meters. The red one is their health. The blue one, or the purple one right there, is their morale. If their health goes down to 0, they die, and you collect blood as a resource. And then if they run away in fear, you get tears, and those are a resource for upgrading morale-damaging units later on. I guess we'll put Balbel out front. We'll put Dan in the back, I guess, and we'll put Bullen in the middle. That sounds good. And then we've got a spell in this room that we can cast on them. This room right here, we can either do the energy converter or we can do the gnome technician. The gnome technician's pointless because there's no traps behind this, so we'll do the energy converter instead. We've got another batch of monsters over here. This is Daiher. He is a flame eater. He has an AoE that deals damage, and then on top of that, any debuff that they have on them, he adds 2 stacks to every debuff that's on them. So he's a pretty good character for kind of like snowballing the enemy without them realizing it. We have Clerk, who is apparently dealing a lot of physical damage, a lot of morale damage, attacks an additional time if the target's morale is under 75%. I like that. And then we have Shoril. Oh, this guy should probably be up front, I guess. He's like thicker than these other 2 guys. And this guy's got some kind of like javelin LRM device on his back. I like it. I can dig it. So he does a nature damage to the front, so that's good. And if he's got barrier, he gets multi-attack. And then he's got an area of attack that does 9 nature damage and puts poison on them and gives him a shield. So you can stack up that shield and then trade it in to have like a nuke attack, basically. And then there's the room with the engineer. They walked into the ballista, took the damage right there, looking good. They all have terrible armor right now, so we should be able to do something with that. I'm going to throw my wrench at that guy. It seems to have done a lot of damage. Barrier soaked most of that damage. If your monsters die in this combat, they lose morale. If their morale gets down to 0 in kind of like the map mode of gameplay, they quit their job, and you've got to replace them. We've got a flamethrower, and we've got overheat. Yeah, do self-protection to everybody. Self-protection is good. Yeah, that'll help out. We've got a helmet cannon over here. We've got an explosive head that we can launch at them. Let's go with the helmet cannon. That's going to the back line, and honestly, it did a lot of damage. We'll throw a wrench at that guy, too. I feel like we're in pretty good shape right now. Unfortunately, we lost our little dude in the back, but I think there's a solid chance that we're going to kind of get something done here. Keep firing things that hurt. Wow, we're doing like really good for this point. Normally, your first line of monsters goes down like instantly. They just get like obliterated the second that they go in. Keep firing. Yeah, the more that we can kill, the better. We are taking some damage now. Let's go explosive head right there. This guy is now down below 75% morale, so he's getting a debuff. He's now worried, which is increasing the damage that he's taking by 15%. In this room, we get to use a magic spell on them. Let's go ahead and we'll go Yeah, we'll go ahead and debuff this person on traps. That sounds good, because he's about to get hit by traps anyways. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Took double damage from that trap. Don't you just love it? We'll go Rain of Harpoons right here to start building up some barrier. Actually, I guess he could have just double attacked. Wasn't even that big of a deal. And he's now dead. He didn't even make it to our boss, so that's absolutely fantastic. I love the pixel art in this game. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Like, some of the spell effects and thing in this game, you just want to watch them be casted over and over and over again because they're so good looking. We have a Naga over here. She does air damage and morale, and then it ricochets to the hero position behind the target if their morale is below 50%, so she'd be good for second room. 10 ice damage minus 30 morale. Damage and morale dealt increased by 100% if they're the last remaining hero, so yeah, definitely a second room villain right there. We have the Succubus, does 30 fire damage or 20 nature damage and puts poison 3 on the enemy. And if they have positive armor, her attack also hits the person behind them. So basically, if the person in front has a positive armor value, she hits both front lines, which is pretty good, and it kind of makes up for the fact that she's really, really squishy. We also have a Hawker over here. The Hawker does 52 damage, and it's increased by 100% if the Hawk has barrier points. So that actually, this guy can nuke pretty hard if he wants to. And then he's also got an AoE attack where he lights the Hawk on fire, because apparently we're big fans of bird conflagration around here, and it does an AoE that puts burn on everybody. I'll probably go with the Hawk Trainer. He seems to be stacking into our already pre-existing strategy a little bit better. And as you can see, these guys lost morale because they died in that front room. Your front room troops tend to take a lot more morale damage than your second room troops. It's just kind of the way that it goes. He's been put in right there. That means we can probably get away. I feel like he's a better second room person because of that barrier buff right there. The good news is, I think that means we can probably swap in somebody to the front room. I'm going to wait until I need to do it, though. Right now we have a choice. We can get a monster or a new trap. We can train our monsters that exist for money, or we can take an event. The event can be anything. It can be good or it can be bad. You never quite know what it's going to be. Sometimes it's like free money. Sometimes it's free morale. Sometimes one of your guys gets injured for like 10 weeks. It just kind of, you never know. It's a wild card. I would really only pick it if you don't have other stuff going on. We'll go to the merchant. Why not? So he's got an arrow bot right there. 60 physical damage, broken armor 3. That's pretty good. And then we've got area damage right there. We've also got Pandora's Box, and we've got Psycho Imps. If you don't like any of these choices right here, you can renew it to get another batch, but I do like the arrow bot, so I think I'm going to take the arrow bot. That sounds good to me. I'm going to renew it one more time, too. We've got another head slinger over here, too. Or we've got the Fudakuchiona. And she's actually pretty good. Like, I like her a lot, but I don't know how she's going to do with this particular team arrangement. She's really, really good for the Slave Master because, like, she's a debuff bot. If you level her up, she also has a special ability that makes your first turn an automatic crit for all your other monsters. And so she can be pretty solid. But I think the Head Slinger is what we're going to go with for now. And then we'll renew one more time. We've got another Human Hunter over here. We've got a Polar Portal. It's getting more expensive. I'm going to save my money. The engineer can upgrade our traps. I highly recommend you do this. Your traps, they're kind of underrated. So, like, new players coming into this game, they might focus all their energy on upgrading their monsters or upgrading their master. Traps. Upgrade your traps. Oh, my God. The traps can be so good if you upgrade them. Like, after a couple levels, these things get downright nasty. And, like, I'm aware of the fact that the ballista is kind of broken right now, and so we're gonna upgrade the ballista. The ballista's kind of busted at the moment. There's a workplace accident. A trainee spilled a burning hot drink on you in front of the blood spice latte machine. Puck my life. 100 damage taken by our boss. We can either punch them and extract our vengeance in blood, or we can insult them and they will run off crying, just, I don't want to work here anymore. And then we get tears. I'm going to even it on out so that we get tears. We got another group of adventurers right here. It's going to give us another free monster. I'm okay with that. I like having like a very, very large stable of monsters that I can rotate in and rotate out. I like that variability. It makes it easier to restore morale and whatnot. So, with what we... Oh, I forgot to put them into different groups. Feels bad. Okay, so we'll put the wrench guy... We'll kind of put him... What do they have? So they have a back damage attack, Or a front damage attack, area attack. Okay, so we'll put him in the middle. We need somebody tanky out front, like somebody that can really, really take a lot of damage. And then I would probably say... He'll actually survive. No. I wanted... Not you. Not you. I wanted you, because they don't actually have anything that attacks the back row. Yeah. Oh, he randomly rearranges our monsters at the beginning of at the start of the first fight. So it doesn't even matter where we put these guys. We have no control over that. I'm not a big fan of abilities like that. I tend to think abilities like that are kind of like meh, because like an ability should modify core mechanics of the game. It should never negate core mechanics of the game. And that ability right there negates a core mechanic of the game, which is strategically placing your monsters, which is like basically one of the only types of agency you have when designing your dungeon. And so like I feel like that skill's a bit too far. But you know, maybe that's just my personal opinion. We'll go energy converter right there because that thing is sick. And then in this map, we'll put clerk up front. We'll put Shoril in second, and we'll have Vakis in third. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get past our first two groups of monsters. I think they're going to kill these guys pretty flatly, but oh, cool, we lucked out. It's not as bad as it looks. Okay. Let's go penetrating shot. Break that armor down. Get the wrench throw, because you tanking now, brother. I hate to tell you. I don't want you to be tanking right now, but you're tanking right now. We'll overeat everything to maybe give us a little bit more chance of barriering. There's a little bit more of a debuff. And yeah, unfortunately, this isn't going the way I wanted it to go because they rearranged my line. So it kind of is what it is. We'll throw some fire on these guys real fast before anything else happens. They did the best that they could. I mean, you can only operate so much when they move you around like that. There's a bunch of damage going out right there. We've got the targeting drone. Yeah, do the targeting drone, because we've got another room coming up, and the double damage from this will add a super barrier to the guys in the second room, and it'll make them basically, like, impossible to hurt. Yeah, exactly. This guy basically would have got one-shotted on that first turn. There we go. That's what I like to see. Wow, fantastic, dude. Absolutely fantastic. Could not have loved that result better. I'm going to take the Naga so that we can add the Naga to the second room just in case we end up needing her. We lost some more motivation. I am going to, so we've got $192 right now. I'm going to take an event to see if we can get some money. A play found a strange unlabeled flask while cleaning, is about to drink it without even checking if it's poisonous. You recognize it as an evolution elixir. Will you let them drink it, or will you take it for yourself? So we can take it for ourselves. That will give us 11 power, which makes us hit harder. If he takes it, he'll upgrade to level 2, obviously, and then we can sell it to get 150 bucks. I feel like the 150 bucks is the way to go here, because we can use that 150 bucks to upgrade multiple monsters. But we'll let him drink the potion. Yeah, go ahead and drink it, dude. Do your thing. We can do a workout right here. Workout is for you to upgrade your main boss. I'm going to take an event, though. By chance, you meet a tamer traveling through the region looking for some work. He offers to train your employee at half price. If you have the right employee in your employ, you could even negotiate for them to work for free. Unfortunately, we don't have that employee, so I'll just go for the $125. We also have the therapist over here, which is good because we have a lot of morale missing. The employees get a therapy session that's paid for by the company. Killing humans is a difficult line of work, and you often have to leave your conscience at home, particularly during those torturous sessions. This session will let your employees talk about their feelings and let off some steam. Nice. So that'll help out a little bit. We can send somebody on a business trip right now. Basically, it's loaning out one of your characters for like X amount of time so that you can get basically monetary compensation, or we can take an event. Yeah, we can choose a business trip. Why not? So we can send off one of our launchers, which will give us the Horn of Plenty. Monsters have a 20% chance to deal a critical strike. That's pretty good. Or we get $100 and some motivation. Or we get $200 and some tears. I want the artifact. The artifact is always a priority for me. Can I rearrange anything over here? I thought I had 2 of these guys. That's kind of a bummer because he's kind of like a linchpin of my room 2 strategy. It's kind of a bummer. I'll probably... Let's swap you out real quick. because you've really been getting kind of dumpstered on lately. We'll let you kind of recuperate for a little bit. If you leave them in the garrison, they get morale back. We have two choices here. We can take a veteran, which will give us an artifact, or we can go with adventurers, which will give us a trap. I'm going to go with the artifact. As with Slay the Spire and games like that, you always want to prioritize getting as many artifacts as you humanly can when you're playing this game, because the artifacts are like a huge buff. Like, the more artifacts you have, the better your chances are of survival. So this guy attacks the front line. Okay. This guy right here does 35 ice damage to the front line. This guy right here does 59 damage to the back. So we want our front line to be kind of tanky, and we want our back line to be kind of tanky. How fast are they? Not very fast at all. I wonder if Barrier can carry him through this. I kind of doubt it. And we need somebody tanky in the back, too. That'll work. That'll work. And then, of course, we're going to go with the same strategy we always go with our traps right here. And then we'll put in the Hawkmaster in the middle. We'll put in the Naga in the back. And we'll put in, I guess, Clerk in the front, even though he's not the tankiest. I think it'll be okay. I think this is all going to work out. We just, we just got to be good about this. Wrench throw. There you go. Get a little bit of barrier, brother. Ow. Yeah, things are not looking good so far. Yeah, go ahead and throw out the explosive head. We'll kind of damage some morale here. It's actually not going too terribly. Minus 20 morale per turn. It's not awful, actually. Like, we lost our front line, dude. But he's kind of building up steam right now with regards to all move gain 25% of the mechanic's power as barrier points. Not going to help out for right now. I need him to, like, tank this for as long as humanly possible. Yep, just keep throwing wrenches at him. Dude, their morale is breaking right now. This adventure is not going well for them. Ooh, I like that giant Minotaur that we've got in the back. We're going to go with the targeting drone one more time. It just feels... Oh, one of them ran away. Nice. You love to see it. Okay. So if we have anything that does morale damage, I'd prefer to be using that right now. Then again, I guess we can swoop-a-dupe this guy right here for 100 damage, which is just like... It's so much damage that you can't turn it down. We've got minus 38 morale right there. Shrill Shout. Yeah, go ahead and make him run away, I guess. It limits damage. Our room, too, really has like a rad... Oh, there's a little guy roasting in the fire right there. I never even know... Oh, and there's like dead people everywhere, too. They've got little leaves over their sensitive bits. Do the helmet cannon. Ooh, very nice. And then swoop him, and we'll get a little bit of blood and a little bit of tears out of this one. Not a bad fight, all things considered. We can choose an artifact. So, we can go with Cursed Spirit. Whenever they kill a demon, they get burned 3. We've got the Revealing Lens. Mechas gain 20% of their maximum life as barrier points when attacking at least one hero whose life is above 50%. That's really, really good for us since we're running almost exclusively mechas. Damage of the first attack suffered by monsters placed at the back is returned to the assailant. That's pretty good, too, because attacks to the back line tend to be like nukes. And so returning that back on the first turn can A, save a life if they get hit really hard, and B, it's just extra damage that adds up. I'm going to go with the artifact for mechas, though, even though I really, really like the Reflecting Lens. Oh, he got some morale back. Nice. I don't know why he got morale back, but I guess he got morale back. Okay. Oh, he got morale back because he was in the garrison, that's why. I was going to say. I was trying to figure out why he got morale back. He got it back because he was in the garrison. Let's go to the trainer real fast. I would like to make some of my frontline guys a little bit tougher. Like, I'd like them to be a little bit stiffer of targets if I can. It's very expensive to level up the mechas, though. Normally, you only go to the trainer if you have enough money to really, like, get 4 or 5 upgrades in one go. While dusting the dungeon, a cleaning goblin freed a monster caught up in a spider's web. He also accidentally woke up the giant spider queen, who demands compensation for the destruction of her webs. Okay, we'll fight. I don't want to give up any resources right now. We're going to go to the therapist on this one because, once again, we've got problems with our morale in our front ranks, and so that'll buy us yet another go. Oh, my God, we got 2 therapists in a row. All of our problems are fixed. We have no emotional issues whatsoever, except for the ones that led us to be an evil demonic overlord who lives in the bottom of a damp, dank cave, extracting the tears and blood from the heroes that we murder and torture on behalf of a union. So, you know, I assume that there's some amount of emotional damage that goes into taking that line of work. I can't prove it, but I feel as though that is the case. What do I want to do with this? So they've got a frontline attack, they've got an area attack, and they've got an area attack. It's not too bad. They're going to have trouble getting enough damage off at the beginning of the fight. I think that's our layout right there to put up the best case resistance. Obviously, we're going to go with the exact same strategy for the back 3 rooms that we've always been doing. I'd love to get the energy converter leveled up. Absolutely, I would love to get it leveled up. You're in the front, and then we'll throw you in the back. Sounds good. And then they get to the engineer, who hasn't even had a chance to fight yet because we're just too damn good at our job. Did they just rearrange my line? Oh, you absolute pecker. How could you? This is not ideal. I don't like that this has happened. Just flamethrower, because I think he's going down anyways. So you got a little bit of barrier right there. Go ahead and do the helmet cannon, since it gives us the most bang for our buck. I'm going to put up as many barrier points as I possibly can, so that maybe our front line soaks another turn. Nope, it's not going to soak another turn. Damn. Okay, well, continue. I think our second guy's going to go down on this turn, too. Yeah, feels bad. Keep helmet cannoning, because you get a double attack right there. So he's almost dealt with. I think the technician, or like the engineer, probably has the best abilities, in all honesty. Or at least the best minions. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the follow-up attack right there. But honestly, any fight where you kill off one enemy, like in the first wave, is usually pretty good, and so I'm not against it. She used her special ability to heal. It's not really going to matter because that's going to soften her up. We'll go targeting drone right here. Dude, that's such a strong combo. Targeting drone into power converter is like so unbelievably strong. Like, it's really, really good. Like, that's basically why that's the reason why we're stalemating them at the second room every single time. We got Frigid Glance. Let's go minus. Let's see if we can morale this person out to get some extra tears. Just as a resource. There we go. Make her run away. Perfect. All right. We can level up our masters. So we can make her AoE ability deal more damage. We can add more power to her, which makes her attacks just hit harder. Or we can upgrade targeting drone. Targeting drone, it doesn't get an increase to the damage, just gets an increase to the duration of the debuff that it puts on. So until we get to bigger dungeons, I don't think it's that helpful. I'll probably just upgrade that ability right there. Mechanical Resonance. That's fine. I mean, we had their morale all nice and filled up. We can go to the doctor. I don't remember what the doctor does. It's been a long time. Oh, the doctor heals our engineer. The Occupational Health Office has been called in to do some tests following recent assignments. The doctor provides you with basic medical care. Okay, that sounds good. We've only got a little bit of money right now, so I'm going to focus on events. A shifty-looking supplier is offering you some human thighs to feed to your employees. They don't look or smell particularly good, but they'll give you a sweet salary bonus for reducing overhead. Yeah, let's do it. A black market. Sell monsters in your garrison that are not useful to you. Yeah, I think there's probably a couple monsters in here that I'm not really using. And we could honestly use the money, so there you go. This is Legend of Keepers. I hope you guys liked it. I do think this game has gotten better and better over time. Like, it's consistently added things that make me more interested in it. In the beginning, I wasn't super enthralled by this title, and like somewhere around the middle of their development, I started to get into it. And then there were some like later patches that I was like, and so I decided to wait for 1.0, and I'm glad that I did, because the 1.0 feels much better balanced. So like when I used to play this game, you were getting choked out nonstop. And like the entire game was just kind of this slog of you losing over and over and over again, and them almost always getting to your boss. And so I'm glad to see that they buffed up the monsters a little bit to make them a tad more competitive. Because like morale issues were a huge problem in the older builds, just because like you were losing so much. And so anyways, I think that the balance passes that they put through on this game have left it in a much better state than it was in. And I love the pixel art. I think it looks great. The sound effects are fantastic. The spell effects are great. We can take a look at the options real fast to see what they have available. The game does have Twitch integration right here, so that your Twitch chat can fiddle with you and mess with you while you're playing the game. Inside of video, we've got resolution options, quality options, and our display mode. On top of that, we also have VSync, just in case you're getting tearing, and also the ability to disable screen shake. I hate screen shake, so that's great. We've got the audio mixer right here, pretty much standard fare stuff with the addition of ambience. And then, of course, we've also got Gamepad Accessibility, which allows you to have a left-handed mode. It also allows you to swap things around. I don't know exactly what that means right there, but I assume people that actually use these options will know what that means. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Thank you for joining me for Legend of Keepers. I'll see y'all next time. This is the 1.0, so now's the time to jump on in. How do, everybody, and take care.